Hello and welcome to today's tutorial. To get a PDF version of this tutorial, join our community on Patreon at patreon.com/ArielCad3D. You'll get access to our starter pack files, blueprints, transcripts, early access to our content, as well as native CAD files. You also get master course lessons that are available at our flexible tiers. So click the link in the description box below and you can join as a free member or any tiers that suit your needs. Welcome back. I hope you were able to complete the task that I gave you in the previous video, and that was to create the blocks for the front leaf spring support system. As you can see, I've gone ahead and created mine and I've actually finished it. So I wanted to show you, we're going to create very simple brackets. As you can see, manual brackets that are just bent here, and we've got a bolt, a nut and a bolt at the center and at the edges. So we're going to repeat the same. And on this case, I tried creating 4mm leaf plates. Each of these is 4mm. In our previous one, we did 2mm for the upper block and the eye, and 4mm for the bottom ones. So if you want to edit, you can experiment with different thicknesses and choose the one that you want. So let's just dive into this one. We're going to create some reference planes where we're supposed to have the brackets as well as the nuts and bolts. We don't need the blueprint at this moment, so we're going to hide it. And I was thinking we can add some materials maybe to the ladder so that we can create some contrast and it's easier to see. So we'll give it a dark red color. We go to painting, we can choose DS dark red. All right. And then because our sketches, when you add constraint, they turn to green, we are going to change this color as well. So this one, I'm going to give it, say, steel. I'm going to go to metals and give it steel material. And for the blocks, just to differentiate them, know that this is the default material. Obviously they're going to be steel plates, but we can give it aluminum to kind of give a contrast where you've got the eye and the other plates as well. So going into the side view, remember, this is not horizontal, it's slanted to some degree, and therefore you cannot create the brackets or the nuts in a vertical position. You've got to be in a position that is perpendicular to these curves. We'll start by creating a point. And actually, I'm going to show that painting a little bit because I need the reference for the mid or the center of the wear. I will select this top surface. This is supposed to be, you can say on plane because it's a solid. And then you select this one as a plane and just leave it at the default origin. So the horizontal will be 0, vertical will be 0. I'm gonna go to, actually I don't want it at a plane, I want it at the surface. I'll select this surface, right, and leave it at default 0. Distance will be 0 as well. I need it at the center and then select OK. Now when we go to the side view, I kind of wanted the bolts to lie close to the center, and I can see this point is close to the center, so we can work with this one, no problem at all. We can insert an axis system at this point. You can, because I don't want to create extra geometry, let's start with a plane. Let's say a plane that is normal to curve For the curve, I'm going to select the edge, this edge, but then it should be at this point, and select, yeah, let's work with a plane. There's no need for an axis system, because then I'll have to select the z-axis and make it perpendicular to this surface. Now we've got a plane there. We need another one to hold the brackets, and obviously we're going to use this one as our reference plane. So you're going to select a plane, offset from plane, choose this as your reference. I'm going to zoom in. You can select this place right here. It can be somewhere at the middle, and then we're going to use a mirror on both sides to create even geometry on both sides. Select OK. Now the only problem, I would say, something that a tip that I didn't give you at this point that I used at this section is when I was creating this geometry, when I was creating these blocks, I did an axis here that was perpendicular to these parallel lines, and then I just created geometry on one side and mirrored it on the other side. So that means the steps on this side are the same as the steps on this side, and that was very easy to create a bracket here, a nut and bolt here, and just mirror them to the other side. But in this case, you're gonna have to repeat what we do on this side to this side, which is good practice overall. I'm going to hide this shackle for now so that I can see this section. Add another plane, offset from this one, reverse the direction. Where is it? And then zoom in. We place it here, so it's cutting through these two plates. So normally it doesn't cut through all the way to the bottom plates. So it means that for this plate, they should start somewhere from here. So we can fix that, no problem at all. Offset more plates on the other side. Or let's just fix the sketch first. So we did top lift plate. Actually, they are both. So I'm going to rename this. Let's do a little bit of editing work. I'm going to rename this the same way I did this. These are going to be the rear lift blocks. And then we've got two sketches, one at the top, one at the bottom, right? This is actually a nice place where we can edit the dimension, the thickness. For the eye leaf, I think this is just a sketch and nothing in it. We can delete it. So in sketch 23, you can simply double click on it and adjust the thickness so that we can be able to adjust the other ones as well. For the bottom side, I think it will be automatic because we projected the boundary. We can start with this thickness of this curved section. We had 2 here. This is it. Hold on. We had 2. We can double click and adjust it to 4. Obviously, we've got our constraint. Don't worry about it. We'll fix it. This one as well is going to be 4. This distance here is going to be 8 because it's carrying both these 2. Then we've got these 2. I don't remember which side we did the dimension. Gonna have to zoom in and check. Let's see if it's on the other side. So this is going to be 4. We've got this one as well. For the curved section is going to be 4. This is going to be 8, right? And I think for these two sections, we didn't add the dimension because they are governed by this curve and this curve. Automatically, it picks up on the 4 thickness. And as you can see, it's all green, meaning it worked right. One more thing that I want to change, I want to add this distance a little bit. We did 25 in our last session. I'm going to go with 30. Just a little bit of, so we can have that nut and bolt. Let's do the same on the other side. You can see how easy it is to adjust parameters, and then they're just going to reflect on your subsequent geometry because you projected the sketch. Exit. So automatically the bottom one is pushed downward because we projected this line. And then for the top one, we just need to adjust this measurement here. So we'll come to the rear left blocks. We've got the first sketch. The first sketch. And if you zoom in, we've projected this line and the top line, meaning this top distance is 8. But now the distance between the bottom and this first layer is going to be 4. So what I just I'm going to push this a little bit inwards, this line, like so. So what I was saying, oh, we've got one more here that is supposed to be 4 as well. What I was saying is that I created an axis and I just sketched half of it and mirrored it to the other side so that it's similar. And we can actually do that here. I don't remember what we used with this axis here. This is a horizontal axis. We don't need a horizontal axis. What we need is an axis that is perpendicular to this parallel line. So they are not exactly horizontal. Select perpendicular and OK. And it's running across somewhere this middle portion of the wheel, and I can fix it to make sure it doesn't move. I can just trim off this element on the right. Let's zoom in to make sure we don't leave any geometry. We'll just delete this 2 millimeter here. This, you can extend it. We check on it to make sure that we don't have any gaps. And then you can just now select the geometry on the right. I'm going to manually select it. I know I can, there are other selection methods. So those curves, I'm going to mirror using this axis. And then I'm going to come here and confirm we don't have any open geometry such as this one. So I will trim off this one. Now I can see that this is really not the midpoint. It's not the midpoint because this didn't come all the way to the edge. Let me check that once more. So we need to push the axis system a little bit towards this side. So I will select this axis. Oh, sorry. I don't need to trim that. Let me undo that. I will select this axis, remove the fix constraint, move it a wee bit on this side. All right. Yeah, that's much better. Perhaps not too much, just a little bit. So we know that's about the midpoint of this leaf springs. Undo that. I think the prior was better. So what I'm confirming is this is the eye. We are running a nut and bolt here. It needs to cut through these two. And you know, I can just select, hold on. I can just select this vertical axis, and this one, and select symmetry. Not sure why that was over constrained. I will have to select it manually, no problem. Okay. Let's see. This side is fine. Can pull this closer like that. And this side is fine as well. So you can get creative to try and find the midpoint between here and here. You can place a reference frame or point, and then just use symmetry. But in this case, I guess this guess is all right. Exit. So that's fine. So we can make this symmetrical as well. This will make it easier to just mirror the brackets instead of creating 5 different components. So once again, we're just selecting an axis. It was about here. And I want to make sure that this axis and this line are perpendicular, like so. I will first fix it. Then trim off these elements. I'll just delete them. And as I said, I don't want them to start over here at this edge, so I'll push them towards the front. The first nut and bolt is only tying the top block with the eye, so these ones are starting about this position. And I don't know why, do these lines seem parallel to this line? Because they don't seem like that to me. Fixed. Okay, and then we've got 4 on each side. We can place a bracket here. That is parallel, that is okay. Let me see this one. These two are parallel. What about this one and this one? Okay, we've got that side as well. And so you can now select your geometry. I will select it like that. Zoom in. I want to deselect this one. Make sure it's not selected. And then mirror using the axis. Then double check on this side to ensure you don't have open elements. So I will double click on quick trim and trim off any unnecessary geometry. Okay, that's decent enough. Exit. So we fixed it. The thickness is the same as the front one, right? And now we can fix the reference frame, starting with the point. The point can be now can be between, select point 1 and point 2. That's going to be the center, and then the ratio is going to be the middle point. Now because we use symmetry, you can see we've got they are selecting these two surfaces as individual surfaces, not as one complete one. Then we can fix the second one to see if it's that's actually a nice position, and this is also a nice position. Great. Now for the first frame here, we can hide this point. I'm going to sketch this element, but first we need to create its own, its own body. I will insert a body after this one. We're going to call this, rear lift plates, not say brackets. Doesn't have to be this long, but you know, as long as your work can be understood by somebody else. And remember, as I said, there are components that we are creating as they would be created in a factory, but some, such as the the bolts, the nuts, and what have you. These are vanity features we're just creating for the purposes of illustration. And that's because the specific nuts will be produced independently with specific measurements. So will be the holes that are going to be drilled, the threading, and all that kind of thing. That is more advanced in manufacturing side. So for the design, it's kind of to give you a concept of how it is done. Okay. Now that we've got, we're going to sketch on this new plane that we created. And I'm going to project this face and the bottom face so I can know, you know, the limitations. I can make those two just construction elements like that. Go back to the normal mode. Now I can hide this. We don't need them. I can hide that. And then I'm going to create an axis that runs in the middle because we are creating a shaft. So for the nut, select profile. I'm going to make it 2.5 millimeter in radius. That is 5 millimeters diameter. So just a little bit after the bottom surface. We are now on standard elements. Very simple. They should be horizontal, then vertical up to this point, then horizontal, and then we're going to create an arc. Its center should align with this axis. Okay, then starting from that point to that point. Now I'm going to add measurements or constraints. Double click on it. I want the distance between the topmost part. Something was already selected. Okay, double click on this. Between the topmost part and this horizontal line here, this distance should be 3 millimeters. Then this distance should be 2.5. And then the radius is, as I said, 2.5. I can see I want this axis to stay constant, not to move. So again, I will fix it and then adjust this to 2.5. So a simple nut with a cap, exit, and create a shaft. Yeah, it's automatically going to select the middle axis. Let me connect my power. Okay, 360 degrees. Select OK. That looks okay. And then we can let me give it a material. This pale color, I usually don't see it when I sketch. Let's give it steel material. Then we're going to, we can use this surface as a plane to sketch because there's a solid. Then I'm going to project the circumference just as a standard element. So that was 5 millimeter in diameter. And then we're going to select a polygon. Is this the one I was calling a hexagon before? So it's a polygon. Then I want the distance between the center and the peak, this point here, to be 7. Hope that's not too large. Yeah, that's fine. Exit. So this will create our bolt using a pad, say up to plane, and then you can select this surface as a plane, this bottom surface. So you reverse and select up to plane. Then obviously it's not going to be this thick, so you can adjust the limit to, like so. So we've got an illustration of a nut and a bolt. So that's it for the center part. You can actually hide that plane. Let's come to this simple bracket. I feel like we've concentrated these curves too much. We've concentrated them too much. Where are they? Let me try to move them towards the center like that. Space them out. That's what I mean. Okay. Yeah, that's much better. That's much better. So we'll sketch the new plane. Then the same thing we did, select the top surface and project it. Then the bottom surface to get the limits, project it. Make both of these projections just construction elements. Now, as I said, we are creating very simple brackets. Just it's a plate that's been bent like that. So I'm going to select axis, create an axis at the center. It will be highlighted, and then fix it. Make sure it's vertical. Then I'm going to select profile from here to this point. Hold on, standard element. I will start from here, not at the center, to the edge, again to the edge, then to this point. Then I'm going to select offset. Offset the entire geometry. At such a distance. I don't know if I edit this, it's going to edit the entire geometry. I'm not sure. So let's say the thickness. Let's try -3. Yeah, I think it adjusted for the entire geometry. I'm going to close this part here, select the rest of the geometry, and mirror using this axis. So the thickness is 3 millimeters. Exit. This part is very, very simple, as you can see. Create a pad, 10 millimeter on this. I'm going to do 15 millimeters or 20. millimeters. So it looks like that. And finally, same thing we did at the center. I'm going to hide this plane now. I'm going to sketch on this plane. We're here. And once again, select this surface, project it, the bottom surface, make both these lines to be construction elements. Go back to the normal view, create an axis at the center, right there, fix it. Then use profile to create an arc of maybe the same dimensions. Let's see. So it should be 2.5 on that direction, 2.5 again. Select an arc. Then enter the dimensions from this line. Okay, this line first is 2.5. Then we've got from this point to this line, 3 millimeters. Finally, the radius is 2.5. Exit. Create a shaft, 360 degrees. Select the bottom plane or surface, sketch it. Project the circumference. Add a polygon. Then the dimension for the peak point is supposed to be 7 millimeters. We create a pad, reverse the direction. The first dimension is up to plane. We select this surface as our plane. Then limit to we estimate by pushing it upwards like so. And voila, we've got our bolt feature. You can hide this. So now because we did some edits on our sketches and now they are symmetrical on both sides, you can now just select the bracket. So I'm going to expand this, select the shaft, the pad, those three, and mirror using, we had a plane here. It's in the geometrical set, plane 4. So if we did not use symmetrical, you can see that maybe where this bracket sits, it wouldn't fit perfectly because maybe this would be thinner or thicker depending on what we had on the other side. But now it suits perfectly. The last thing we are going to create are the nut and bolts for this section. If you look at the front eye, I added a securing nut and bolt here. I called it the front leaf plate nut and bolt. So we're going to insert another body. This one's so that you can separate them from the main feature. And now we can show that shackle. Great, we can hide this axis system here and that point. Leave this too as well. If we need them later on, we can show them. Times we start from the horizontal axis upwards like so. Make sure this is horizontal. Wait, hold on. Constraints, because I can see we've got two geometries. We'll just hide one shackle. One represents the bolt. Then we finish off the rest part of the nuts. So I wanted to confirm we can hide this shackle one first so that it's not confusing me. Say add an axis system here so that it picks automatically. Be 5 millimeters. that makes it impossible. I'll just double check. We've got constraint here, goes like that, like that. I honestly don't see any problem. I don't see any problem. Not sure why it gave me that error. I'll just undo, undo, and undo. Just one thing for a long time is just going to stress you out. I will hide Shaco 1. Quickly, once again, add an axis right here. Select this. That's it, right? This is 5. This is so huge. Oh, I see. 8. Then we've got 5, 8, 5, 65. That should be all right. Let's try that once more. Shaft with 60. I will make this metal steel. Select this plane, this surface. Sketch on it. Project. The circumference is a construction element, and I'll just create a polygon. Like so, where the peak touches that line, but it's not supposed to be, it's supposed to be a standard element. So a polygon from the center, like that. Then the outer geometry can be anything, really. Then create a pocket up to last. Okay, so you're going to repeat the same process we used to create this bolt and nut here to create another one here. You can now show this shackle and hide the other one so that when you sketch you can only see this one. So quickly do that now. Once you've got the bolt there, the next item is going to be the axle. We'll start with the front axle now. Our car is starting to get its definition, so we're going to create the front axle and the rear axle. Then we will add some suspension, that is the friction dampers. We are going to add the friction dampers because they are attached to the axle and the ladder. So we need to create the axle first and then we get to the friction dampers. So far I hope you have enjoyed this tutorial, and before you go, one thing that you're going to add is the edge fillet. You will select these vertical edges. Okay, cancel. We're going to the leaf blocks, defining work object. You will select edge fillet and select these vertical edges. Because they are the same thickness, I can select all of them at once. But I will do the bottom first and then do the top again. So you will select them like that. You will select for the other side as well. The radius is going to be 15 millimeter. We want it to overlap completely and leave a sort of a semicircle. See that? If you reduce it, you can see we've got a gap, but I want it to completely overlap like that. So you will add this edge fillet on this side, on the other side, and you will also add it to this top plate, the only top plate, not these two, the topmost plate. And your plates should look exactly like this one when you're done. See the top one and the bottom ones. And then you can play around with materials, try to assign different materials. But remember, if you're doing analysis, all these are steel plates. I just added the different material for the eye to create some contrast for you to see where the junction is, right? And I believe the shackles can be the same color as the ladder frame. Same thing with this. This is part of the ladder frame, so you can just make it the same color. Give it the same painting, like so. So keep on practicing, and I will see you in the next lesson.